That's number one. You kind of reset.
Painful, tender to the touch. May also
Same shoulder length, and the other. Hey everybody, welcome back. Another episode of Real Health with Brandi and Amir. I am Dr. Amir Rashidian, a chiropractor. Brandi is my other half, and she runs the organization and everything else. She's the looks and the brain. And
Wow.
Real Health.
Maybe I'll get dinner tonight too.
You got it.
So such flattery.
Actually, we are going out to dinner
Yeah,
tonight
we are.
with some church folks.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
It'll be good. It'll be
Excited.
good. Yeah, absolutely. So shout out to Eric and people at Momentum.
Yep.
So Real Health is where we talk about latest news. We talk about articles that are out there that maybe you should know about. We'll summarize them for you, explain what they mean to you. Our ultimate goal is that we help you feel better, get stronger, live longer, and feel younger.
Yep. And
Now-
how to ask great questions to get there.
That's right. Now, have we ever talked about why we say get stronger? Because I wonder if our audience thinks get stronger means just be able to pick up a lot of heavy stuff.
Well, maybe.
Okay, but that's not what we mean.
Well, then we might want to define it for
We
them.
may want to define that. So, because everybody knows what feel better means, live longer means, feel younger means. But I don't know if we've ever explained the get stronger part. And why do we put that second? Well, first you feel better, then you have to get stronger. And here's what I mean by strength. You see, your health is determined by how much stress you can safely handle.
Yep.
So if your level of stress is this high, but your stress tolerance is this high, you're okay. But if you can only tolerate this much stress and your stress level goes above that, now you're susceptible to illness and injury. So if you want to reduce your risk of illness and injury, you need to be strong and resilient towards stress. That requires adaptation. Your body adapts to stress. So when we say get stronger, we're talking about how much stress you can safely handle without getting sick,
Well,
without getting injured.
Let's take that just a step further too, because I think a lot of people, when they think about stress, a lot will just think of how stressful life can be, how stressful having kids can be, how stressful work can be, right? Which are really about mental stressors,
Yeah.
right?
Mental, emotional.
Correct. But that's not what stress is. We actually kind of put stress in a box and we give it the wrong definition
Not
often.
we, but like society does.
Yeah. So let's define stress, because that's going to make even that whole get stronger make even more sense.
Yeah.
So what's stress?
Stress is a force. It's a force that causes change in your life. So a force comes in, your body adapts to it.
Right.
And that adaptation can be a negative result or a positive result. So lifting weights is a
Right.
stress.
So that's a physical stress. So there's
Right.
mental, physical.
Right. Lifting weights, you put physical stress on your body. And if you do it correctly, you get stronger. If you do it incorrectly, you get injured. But the force is the same. It's like gravity. It's a force on your body. Fire is a force. It can cook
Yeah.
your food or burn your hand. And in fact, I'd go as far as saying money is a force.
I was just going to say that too.
Money
Yeah.
is a force because it can fund terrorist activity.
Yep.
But it can put your kids through college.
Absolutely.
So, but money's the same. It's neutral. It's not good or bad. Stress is neutral. It's not good or bad.
Absolutely. And I think that's important to remember, because we have a certain thought about what stress is. And often it's not really the full picture. So when we say things like you need to be able to have what we call a general adaptation potential, right? Which is that gap between the stress you have and what you can handle. And when that's reversed, like you were saying, that's where illness comes into play. And we all are going to hit a time where we have to step into,
Oh yeah.
we're going to have a healthcare challenge of
If you
some
ever pulled an
kind.
all-nighter, or you did like
Yeah.
3 all-nighters in a row preparing for final exams, or you have a deadline or a report due that you're working on.
Or
and-
you were one of my kids and you had a sleepover and you didn't sleep. That could be it.
But then what happens is the next day you're susceptible to catching a cold. The next day you're susceptible to a sinus infection or anything else. Your immune system is weaker. And in fact, it's kind of funny because we are going to spend some time on the immune system today.
Yeah.
One of our articles is about that. So what do you think? We dig right in?
Let's do
If
it.
you want more information on stress, I am going to tell you to read the book. It's called Cracking the Stress Secret: How to Turn Pressure into Power. Movement. That's our commercial. We've been endorsed by Dr. Amir and his book. This podcast is brought to you by...
Cracking the stress secret.
That's right.
Okay.
Moving on. It's the only thing you can crack. The first article is by U.S. News, and you're going to wonder, why are we talking about this? But we'll tell you. Elf Bar finds an easy way around U.S. vape import ban a name change. So basically, I guess the U.S. banned this e-cigarette brand,
This particular brand, which
and
was a Chinese brand.
the company changed the name, and now it's being imported again. It's the same exact thing, just a name change. So Chinese disposable e-cigarettes from Elf Bar remain widely available in the U.S. more than 4 months after U.S. health regulators moved to ban their importation. 4 months after U.S. regulators tried to block imports of Elf Bar, the top-selling Chinese disposable e-cigarette remains widely available thanks to a simple but effective tactic, changing its name. Convenience stores in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York, and other cities remained fully stocked with brightly colored vapes sold in fruity flavors like strawberry, melon, and claiming, wow, strawberry, oh, that's one flavor, strawberry melon. Interesting. And claiming to contain 5,000 puffs per device. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration, considers the product illegal. In May, it directed In May, it directed customs officials to seize incoming shipments of Elf Bar and EB Design, two of the company's U.S. brand names. The newer vaping devices bear a different name, EB Create.
So different.
Wow. Well, they're creative. They made it EB Create. And list different Chinese manufacturers than those targeted by the FDA. The makeover underscores the FDA's inability to snatch the flow of unauthorized the flow of unauthorized e-cigarettes into the U.S., mainly through large shipping hubs like Los Angeles and Houston.
So I'm struggling. I struggle with this a lot. I'm just going to be really honest with you.
Be honest.
Because we spent so many years trying to tell people how terrible smoking was, right? And instead of helping to give people the strategies and the abilities to fix that, right? Or pull them from the market, but we're not going to do that because there's still money to be made, let's face it. So instead, we create another method of putting something into your lungs, and we make it an aerosol. Like,
wow.
But we say that cigarettes are safe, or the e-cigarettes are safer than the regular cigarettes. I'm struggling with that just a little bit. I don't think any of them are good, first of all. I think it makes it way too easy to promote to children. And I'm sorry, FDA, we do not do a very good job about making sure that what's on the market is safe. If it's not safe, pull it. Pull it. They say we don't have enough people to go through and look in every single crate. Well, then how do you make something illegal if you don't have the people to go through and ensure it doesn't come across the market?
We did just hire 80,000 IRS agents.
Thank God.
I think it was last year or the year before. And we trained them on how to use firearms.
Yeah.
So that they can collect taxes at gunpoint.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well, everybody's going to be
no
dead,
offense
so
against
there's not gonna
IRS
be any.
agents. I know they do a job as well, but why don't we direct some of those government employees to looking at every crate? Why aren't we looking at every single crate coming into the country?
Well, yeah. And then it says e-cigarette manufacturers have proven themselves to not operate in good faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we already know they're not going to. So let's not change any of our strategies. We'll just know that they're not going to operate in good faith, because why would they? They already know we're not checking, right? We're not going to make sure. It's like we're just throwing up our hands and going, oh, well, I don't know really what to do about it. It just doesn't make any sense. Keep going.
The Associated Press reported in June that the number of unique e-cigarettes on the market has tripled to over 9,000 just since 2020. I mean, in 3 years, it's tripled to over 9,000. A surge driven almost entirely by Chinese manufactured disposables.
Right.
Most come in candy and fruit
Right.
flavors that have made them the favorite tobacco product among teens.
Correct, because they're targeting teens.
Elf Bar generated U.S. sales of over $271 million in the past year, according to retail data tracker Nielsen.
Is that not, that's appalling to me.
So, what are e-cigarettes exactly? I mean,
It's a great question.
Because I've, where does the letter E come from? Is that electric?
Electronic.
Electronic.
So let me read. I did do a little bit of research. I went to CDC and American Lung Association.
Because I know what ebooks are.
Correct. Very similar. So electronic cigarettes or e-cigarettes, including e-pens, e-pipes, e-hookahs, and e-cigars, are known collectively as ENDS, electronic nicotine delivery systems. That's ENDS. According to the FDA, e-cigarettes are devices that allow users to inhale an aerosol containing nicotine or other substances.
Wow.
Aerosol. Let me just do a Google search on aerosol, please. Just do it and see what comes up health-wise. Like, we are not supposed to be inhaling aerosol hairspray, right? They're like, aerosols are dangerous to the lungs.
Oh, yeah.
And so, okay. Unlike traditional cigarettes, e-cigarettes are generally battery operated and use a heating element to heat e-liquid from a cartridge, usually refillable, releasing a chemical-filled aerosol. Well, the heating element also always worries me because I think to myself, when you heat something, like I think of like fats and stuff, there are certain fats where if you put them at a certain temperature, they begin to break down and they become extremely harmful, right? So I can't imagine that other chemicals don't work the same way.
Yeah.
So I think it's really kind of
Everything
freaky.
when overheated is not good. That's why some people talk about pasteurized milk not being as healthy as unpasteurized milk just because it's heated and the protein gets denatured.
Yeah.
So,
Using things like microwaves. We
Right.
really try to limit our microwave use. We all have them, right? Most of us were raised in the era of TV dinners. That was like a huge,
yeah.
huge thing. I mean, we were excited about those. They
we
came
were
in cool
jumping with joy
trays.
when our first microwave showed up. I remember
I know.
1985, we got our first microwave, and I was jumping up and down. Yay!
And now we're like, ooh,
And that thing was heavy.
Yeah. About as heavy as the TVs, I think. It says the main component of e-cigarettes is the e-liquid contained in cartridges or tanks. To create an e-liquid, nicotine is extracted from the tobacco and mixed with a base, usually propylene glycol. This may also include flavorings, colorings, and other chemicals such as formaldehyde.
Wow.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Acrolein, which can cause irreversible lung damage. Can we just talk about formaldehyde? I mean,
do you know formaldehyde is so bad that gross anatomy labs, so I was in chiropractic school 23 years ago. So I started in 1997, technically 27 years ago. And we had to do gross anatomy lab for 4 semesters in a row. And formaldehyde they used to embalm and store the bodies that you dissect in formaldehyde, and they decided it was too toxic. So they changed it to something called phenol, which is a different chemical, less toxic, but it's still very toxic. And so we were in this lab 4 hours, sometimes 3 times a week.
wow. Inhaling.
And I remember the smells, and you had to wear gloves, not because the bodies can't be touched, it's because of the phenol that it had, and formaldehyde is worse. But I remember the phenol sometimes would get through the glove, and your fingers would get numb.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then we literally we had a separate locker for our clothes from gross anatomy. Well, because they got other stuff on them. Obviously, you dissect human bodies, but yeah. So formaldehyde, they took them out of that, but now they're putting in something you can inhale.
Yeah, it sounds so brilliant. But so I'm not aware of what all is in tobacco and if they treat it with certain things. And I'm sure because it's a harvested product that there's probably other chemicals that are introduced into the tobacco as well. So I'm definitely not a proponent of cigarettes over e-cigarettes, but I can't imagine this being even considered a healthier alternative. I mean, maybe you're helping to not give secondhand smoke, but there's still something there. I think it's still.
Yeah.
So here's what's we were just talking about the marketing, right? About it being like candy and fruit flavors and all of that. Check this out. This is horrifying. How many youth use e-cigarettes or vape? 20%, 5 million of all youth use e-cigarettes. 20%.
Wow.
It doesn't even say that they're of age. We're talking about teens, right? So they're not differentiating in this what the age of them are, but I'm going to make maybe an uneducated assumption that it's not all adult age teens. This is a 135% increase in just 2 years. Do you want me to say that again? 135% increase.
I wonder what
for
percent
the love
of
of Pete.
I wonder what percent of Chinese youth have used the e-cigarettes.
I don't know. That's fascinating.
You know, because they're the ones making this one.
Right.
It said that literally 2 weeks later, they requested a trademark for EB Create with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. Like 2 weeks, they're like, it got banned. 2 weeks later, they go, hey, how about this one?
It's crazy.
Change
right?
the name, start over.
And I mean, here, they haven't even sent them.
It says the filing was made by the same patent attorney who submitted Elf Bar's previous application. But unlike those filings, the paperwork doesn't mention Elf Bar's patent company.
But the name is EB. It's EB Create.
Right.
Elf Bar, in case anyone is wondering. And they used the same QR code found on prior Elf Bar packages so that not patients, but customers could verify the authenticity of that product. So they knew it was Elf Bar. So if a customer can use the QR code to determine this, I'm wondering why the FDA doesn't or can't.
Yeah.
This to me is absolute. Sorry, we may have some comments from people in the FDA. It feels super negligent.
Yeah.
It feels like everyone is okay with these coming across. Otherwise, we would be doing something about it. It's absolutely ridiculous that these have this kind of heavy toxin and we're marketing to kids and we just go, it's fine. It's fine. Go right ahead.
It says, for years, U.S. authorities have appealed to China's government to crack down on producers of chemicals used to make fentanyl, the deadly opioid that now accounts for the majority of U.S. drug overdose deaths. Earlier this year, the Department of Justice officials announced the first changes against Chinese companies and employees for supplying the chemicals to fentanyl producers in the U.S. and Mexico. The FDA's main tools against e-cigarette manufacturers are warning letters, which put companies on notice for violating FDA rules.
But they're not legally binding.
They're not legally binding, exactly. Anyway, let's be done with this. I'm not going to read anymore. Be your own customs agent. Just don't. What do you call it? I was going to say don't smoke these things, but I guess you're not. Don't vape these things. Yeah. Is that what you say? What's the lingo
Don't
with vapors?
I think you just don't vape.
Goodness. All right, let's talk about the heart. Next article is NBC News. New heart syndrome identifies link among obesity, diabetes, and kidney disease. And so this is something chiropractors have always talked about, is you cannot put a box around one organ and just look at that organ when it's a system that has to work together. Finally, thank you, Heart Association. They decided, they're like, oh, there's others that could affect.
I have to tell you, I laughed really hard. This is the one I mentioned last episode where I was like, I literally, I highlighted, I underscored some of, I'm just like, Come on, people. We know that the whole body communicates, right?
As more Americans are being diagnosed with multiple chronic health problems at younger ages, so younger and younger people getting sick, for the first time, the American Heart Association is identifying a new medical condition that reflects the strong links among obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and kidney disease.
So we needed to create a diagnosis before we could understand that everything
Oh yeah,
communicates.
because you have to code for insurance companies, right? And you have to name everything.
And once you have a condition, you can medicate for it.
But that's what they said.
I
There's all these
know.
new super expensive drugs that they're coming up with. I go, okay.
Correct.
Well, all right, take it away.
So it says, according to an advisory released Monday, the goal in recognizing the condition, which is cardiovascular kidney metabolic syndrome, or CKM, is to get earlier diagnosis and treatment for people at high risk of dying from cardiovascular disease. Reducing the pipeline of individuals progressing to heart disease is our primary goal. And the lead author of the advisory and an accompanying statement, Dr. Chiardi Dumeli, I could have butchered that completely.
I think
The
it's
director.
Ndumele.
Perfect. The director of obesity and cardiometabolic research in the division of cardiology at Johns Hopkins University. Right now, we're seeing the health consequences of all of these conditions interacting and leading to earlier presentations of heart disease, he said. Naming and describing CKM are really a paradigm change. Increasing evidence shows how metabolic risk factors such as abdominal fat, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol and high blood sugar can negatively affect other organs in the body. My one comment to this was, really? We have always known. Here's the challenge where we're at right now. We are so tied to diagnosing and finding a medication to fit that. And again, if you need a medication, you have gotten to the bottom of it, or you're in the process of getting to the bottom of it, and it's about functionality, and you have to have something right then. Okay, but don't stop.
Yeah.
And let's just know, if obesity is at the root of a condition like this, it's lifestyle. None of us want to hear that.
Correct.
It's
But
lifestyle.
again, like I know personally obese people who don't have high blood pressure,
Correct.
don't have coronary artery disease, don't have kidney disease. They're just overweight.
Correct.
Now, that person is healthier than the person who's got normal weight but has the high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, and kidney dysfunction.
Correct. But we do know that obesity does affect the body.
Absolutely. Just like
Negatively.
cigarette smoking does.
Correct. So, and we should be educating patients on how to make those lifestyle
Yeah.
changes.
I just don't want our audience to think that they have to go try to lose weight.
Correct.
It's not that. The health. When you say lifestyle, you mean a spectrum of things. Just like
100%.
when the Heart Association finally discovered, oh, heart disease can be affected by kidney and other stuff, blood sugar, and these things. We're like, okay, yeah, we need to make the whole body healthy.
Correct. It's not just about one thing. It says the development of new medications. Oh, let me back up. It says Dr. Pam Traub, a cardiologist, agrees that a new approach may be a game changer in how we treat patients. The development of new medications to treat conditions that are part of a syndrome, such as kidney disease, diabetes, and obesity, has resulted in decreases in cardiovascular events and given doctors new insights into the relationship among different organs, said Traub. It's been eye-opening, Traub said. CKM takes into account what I call organ crosstalk, which they are interacting with each other very intricately in the body. So the body communicates.
In general, when you look at the organs together, you can detect disease early, and you're going to prevent bad cardiovascular outcomes like heart failure, heart attacks, and stroke.
Yeah. Now, I think part of the reason, if we're just talking about, obesity, part of the challenge is that we have taken how we verbalize obesity, because we don't want to hurt anyone's feeling. We don't want anybody to feel bad. We know that it's difficult. Nobody likes to be overweight. It doesn't feel good. There's a lot that goes into it, both mentally and physically and emotionally. So it's a hard conversation, but we also need to be cautious of how we're verbalizing some of it, because in one of the other articles, that I was reading when I was looking up, what some of our stats are and whatnot, it's talking about people having obesity versus being obese. And that, to me, believe it or not, among everything else that I read, that struck me, really stood out to me the most, because
It's a huge distinction that can, you can look over it if you read it quickly. Yeah.
Because we keep taking the personal responsibility away.
Yeah.
Like, I can be upset that I'm overweight. I can also do something about it. And it's a choice, and it's hard. I've been there. I've been way bigger than what I am now. And it's been a lifelong.
Okay. They're going to think you were like 350 pounds.
Yeah, but there was a time where I was upwards of 260, 275 right after I had our first child.
Yeah. And
I gained a lot of weight right after. And it was a very challenging time in my life, and it was very hard to come back from that. And I think over the years, like being on, dieting, right? That was never the good fix, but constantly like being cautious and watching, what we're taking in and trying to reduce chemical. It's like everything, like you said, it wasn't one thing that began to bring that down. But also the doctors are saying, hey, if we, here's the different phases of where people are with this new syndrome. And if they're at stage 0, there are really no risk factors for heart disease. If they're stage 1, then, they're overweight with a lot of abdominal fat. They may be pre-diabetic. And we're just going to slap them on the back and go, why don't you go set yourself a goal to lose 5% of your body weight? Okay. Somebody who's overweight, you can't just tell them that. Like, that's not something that's going to be easy. And by the way, if they're 300 pounds, you just told them to lose 15 pounds and everything's good to go. Not good to go. Like, do you know what I mean? Instead of doing the hard work.
Because they want to categorize everybody into these 4 stages. Is it 4 or 5? 4 stages of this new disease that they discovered, which is not it's a disease. It's a fact. It's how the body works.
Yes.
So,
and a lot of things that we do or don't do contributes to that. We don't have obesity. We are obese, or we are overweight. That is the reality. And until, we tell our kids all the time, you can't fix something that you're not personally responsible for. Right? You just can't do that. If you refuse to look at it and go, yep, that's me. I need to be the one to fix that because that's my responsibility. If we can't do that as a nation, as a culture, we are going to continue to be exactly where we are. We are ranked 15th in the world for obesity for children, for female children. Male children, 12th.
oh
Adult
gosh.
males were ranked 14th in the world. Adult females, 30th.
Wow.
When it comes to obesity. So we have a lot of work to do. If we're talking about our country right now, they're saying 41.9% of adults have obesity. Well, maybe if we, first of all, start changing our language, and second of all, really help people to develop the real strategies, we won't have to come up with more syndromes that we then need to tie a medication to.
Well,
we can help people be healthier naturally.
Dr. Chestnut talks about, he goes, if your lifestyle is causing you to die, it means you're choosing to do things that's killing you. And the difference between that and suicide is that this one kills you slowly.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing.
It's a very powerful thing.
It steps on a lot of toes.
It does.
So, anyways, the article also said 90% of adults fall in the CKM spectrum. 90%. So listen, how about we create a drug that we're going to ask 90% of Americans to take starting today and every day moving forward?
Right?
Wow.
It's where it begins.
Anyways.
So why don't we talk right now to wrap this up? Because that was, sorry, I was very heated on this
Well,
one
both of these
because,
were kind of emotional
well,
articles.
I get frustrated because some of it deals with, what our children are coming up into, what they have access to, who's marketing to them. It's really scary. Like, we have to really guard our kids from what's out there because, sorry, government's not doing it for us, people. They're not watching as closely for
No
whatever
one's going to
reason.
do it for you as well as you can do it for yourself.
100%. So let it be one of those things that's empowering, not
Right.
burdensome,
Right.
right?
So what you take from that last article is understand that all the different organs in your body have to work together, cooperate with each other, and be monitored and controlled by one thing, which is your brain and through the nervous system. So that's what you have to understand. It all has to work well together. One thing will affect everything else, and vice
It's a
versa.
big spider web.
So this last article is called 25 Essentials to Have on Hand for Cold and Flu Season. I thought this was probably the silliest article we were going to review.
But we're going to beef it up. Can we beef it up?
Yeah, we're going to beef it up. It seemed like an advertisement for a bunch of products to buy. They're basically saying, buy these 25 things. This is from USA Today, by the way. USA Today says, buy these 25 things and have them ready for when you get sick. It says, during the fall, flu season begins once again. And as has been the case for the past few years, Americans have to deal with not just the flu, but COVID-19 and the common cold too. And it sounds like there's only three things, but like the flu is caused by like, I don't know how many,
There's so many variations.
dozens of viruses
Different
will
strains.
cause it. Most of the viruses actually we haven't named yet. So, because once we'll name them eventually, I'm sure. And give them all names, give them their own, the word I can't say too much. Sickness can still creep up on you even when vaccinated. Before you get sick, get prepared by having these essentials at home to help quicken recovery and make it more comfortable. So they do mention some of the common symptoms of these three things. COVID-19, you have fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle or body aches, headaches, loss of taste and smell or smell, sore throat, congestion, runny nose, nausea or vomiting, and diarrhea. With the flu, you have fever, chills, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle or body aches, headaches, fatigue, potentially vomiting or diarrhea. So it's a little less severe. You don't lose your taste and smell, and you don't have as much trouble breathing. And then the common cold is sneezing, stuffy, runny nose. I sound like a commercial. Sore throat, coughing, mucus dripping down your throat or postnasal drip, and watery eyes and fever. So the products they are talking about, number one is have a thermometer to measure, your temperature. And there's different types of thermometers. There are ones that are no touch. They just hold it near you and it tells you. It doesn't matter. The old ones had mercury in them, and you'd put them in your mouth and leave them under your tongue for a minute. Anyways.
And check your temperature regularly, right? Because your temperature is supposed to cycle. So
now, yeah. So if you're a lady and you are still menstruating, the first 5 days after menstrual cycle stops, your first 5 days of the next cycle tells you whether your thyroid hormone is working properly. So, and it's early morning temperature before you get out of bed. Most people are a little bit cooler when they're first getting out of bed in the morning. So if you want your thyroid to be working right, you don't want to be 2 degrees lower than 98.6. So 98.6 is normal. You may be at 97.6, 97 point something. But you don't want to be too low. You don't be 2 degrees.
Okay. And even when you're under the weather is what I was even gearing more towards. Like a lot of times we will take our temperature and we go, oh my gosh, I have a fever. It's 100 degrees, right?
Yeah.
If you take your temperature again in 15 minutes, you'll probably see it's different. It is supposed to cycle.
So when you are sick, your body, your nervous system will raise your blood pressure your temperature. It'll raise your temperature to kill the bacteria, and then it'll bring it back down and bring it back up and bring it back down. Like you're saying, there's a cycle to it.
Yeah. So if you're worried about a temperature, if it's creeping up too high and you're kind of borderline going, oh, should I take something for it? it never hurts to continue to monitor that every 15 minutes. The temperatures are the most scary when they get locked. When the temperature stays, high for an elongated period of time,
Yeah.
that's troublesome. But when your fever is constantly changing, right, your temperature, that's what your body is supposed to do.
Yeah.
So take that with what it is.
Right. Now, our legal department is probably telling us to make sure you tell everybody that they've been prescribed medication by their medical doctor, to follow through on their advice and all of that stuff. So
And if you're concerned, contact someone.
That's right.
But your body, if it's working properly.
Yeah. So in our family, we let fevers go unless it gets stuck at a high level for a long period of time. Then we may consider doing some natural remedies, and we save drugs for last. That's our family. I'm not telling you to do the same thing. That's just what we do. The next item on their top 25 to have at hand is a humidifier to help ease your symptoms. It says cold, dry weather and blustery winds as the weather gets cold can suck all the moisture from your skin, lips, and sinuses. Have a humidifier. Be super careful though. I remember we had a humidifier that I didn't clean.
We replaced ours. We had to end up replacing ours like after each season because our water was so hard. And then we were developing mold in the...
Literally woke up one day and I was really, really, really sick.
Yeah.
And I thought there was something wrong with me. But then I left the house and I was okay. I had to go to work.
Yeah.
Came outside and took some fresh air and suddenly felt okay. Like everything disappeared. And I realized you need to clean these humidifiers. You got to pretty much clean them every night. Be super careful with them, especially the smaller ones. Clean them every night.
One thing that we do also, and you guys can look into, is essential oil diffusers.
Well, that's on the list.
It's on.
We'll
sorry.
get to it.
We'll get there.
Electric kettle to brew soothing tea. I don't know. It doesn't have to be electric, but anyways, they recommend electric. An air purifier to clean the air in your home.
Can we go back to something too, just to let you guys know there are things like... So they touch on some of these things. One thing I would say about that is there's a great product called fire cider. Like you want a tea and you're under the weather and you want something that's going to boost your immune system and help you out. There's something called fire cider. You can look for it online. You can go to some of your local health food stores.
Heat you up on the inside.
It's amazing stuff.
And burn all the bugs and bacteria.
It changes
and
the
viruses.
pH of your body. It's an apple cider vinegar based product, and it has onions and garlic and turmeric and horseradish and cayenne pepper and all of these things that really help to battle bacteria and virus and help to boost the immune system. And so
you can find it at any grocery store. You can find it at health food stores.
Health food stores. Not every grocery store carries it, but online you can get it as well. But I highly recommend looking into. There's various brands. We usually do one with honey in it, or you can add your own honey. But I do a shot of that in hot water at night if I'm, feeling under the weather, and it really works wonders. So it's great stuff. Okay, moving on.
I agree.
Purify the air.
Purifier, remove, particles from the air so your lungs aren't getting polluted.
By the way, that's actually what an essential oil diffuser will do. It actually does clean the air. The odor or the molecules actually, depending on how viscous the essential oil is, stays suspended in air between 8 and 12 hours. And unlike certain, room sprays that just cover the odor molecule or bacteria, essential oil actually, as they're suspended in the air, they actually kill the bacteria and the odor molecules. And so it's really cool to be able to have that. I know we'll talk about that, but that's as good, if not better.
Number 5 is N95 or KN95 masks to protect others in your household. And it's a controversial issue. We're not going to get into it. But if you have masks, I do think if you are currently sick, you wear a mask, you can protect the people around you.
But there is also a detriment to yourself.
Correct. So if you're not around people, I would say don't wear a mask. If you're alone, I don't think you need to wear a mask because you need the oxygen. You really reduce oxygen saturation in your body.
Or if you're outside.
Which, if you're outside, get the fresh air. Don't block that because you're breathing in your own breath when you have something covering your mouth. But that's an idea. That's my opinion. I know some people are very attached to their masks, and I'm not going to tell you not.
Well, the information you gave is actually real. It's true. Whether or not you choose to wear it or not, that's what's a choice.
Correct.
So,
Like I always say, there's a risk to doing something. There's a risk to not doing something.
100%.
Everything has a risk. Number 6 is a pulse oximeter to monitor COVID symptoms. We have one. It's basically a device you put on your finger, and it tells you how much oxygen you have. And if your oxygen saturation is below 90%, you really should see a doctor. If it gets into the low 80s, you need to go to the hospital. That means you're not getting enough
And that's
oxygen.
just a great sign of health anyway. Do
Right.
you know what I mean? So,
Oh, yeah.
so we don't have a pulse ox for COVID symptoms. It's just one of those great things
Yeah.
about your body to check regularly.
I see people's oxygen saturation improve after we adjust their spine.
Yeah.
Because their rib cage can expand better now,
Mm-hmm.
and their lungs expand better, and they get more air and more oxygen.
Yeah.
Number 7 is an at-home test to determine or rule out a COVID-19 infection. That's self-explanatory. If you want to test yourself, have a test. Number 8, we'll leave that one alone.
A cozy comfort. That was funny. We have to tell them what it is. A cozy comforter.
Cozy comfort.
To help you rest.
Done. That's
Okay.
number 8. Number
That was
9,
cute.
a water bottle, so you can stay hydrated.
For
'Cause
the
I guess-
record,
I
you
guess
are
if you're sick-
welcome to do this without a water bottle. You can just use a glass.
You can use a glass. That's I told you it's silly. Literally, they gave you ideas in the article, like this water bottle is cool and this one is cooler. I don't know. A blender is number 10 to make nutritious smoothies. So they talk about getting your vitamins through a smoothie. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I don't know what that has to do with catching a cold or whatever, but they're promoting some products here.
Well, keeping a good nutrition and
Yeah.
making whole food, drinks or soups is always a good thing. So we'll maybe attach it to that.
There you go. And I don't know if there's different blenders out there. The one blender might be better for colds and flus, and another blender is not so much geared towards cold.
You know what just came to my mind? I always think about some of those old sayings where they go, starve a fever, feed a cold. Do you know, or is it vice
Yes.
versa? Or is it feed a fever, starve a cold? See, that's the
See,
problem. I
think
can't
there's
remember which way.
validity to both of those.
Well, but on like a fever, I think you're supposed to starve it because you want the empty stomach.
I always thought it
Right?
was feed the fever because
Oh, maybe that is.
because you
You
need
need the
more
sugar.
energy. You need more energy to sustain that higher temperature because
Yeah.
your pulse is always higher too.
I think you're right.
That's what I thought. But if you starve it, then maybe the temperature will come down. That's why I said there's validity to do
Yeah.
them both.
It's interesting. Okay.
But definitely starving a cold, I think, is better. But again,
Well, you do have to watch what you do put into your body because if you have a cold and you have all of that crap, right? Eating things like dairy are going to increase your mucus production. And so that's not necessarily something you want
Yeah.
when you're under the weather. So like when the kids they're stuffy, we
especially
pull them
milk.
off any dairy.
Pasteurized milk, especially, it does increase mucus production in the body. So that's the blender. Now this one, I really think this is powerful for your
Yeah.
immune system. And number 11 is a way to block out distracting noises for a good night's sleep.
And light.
Well, yeah, that's coming up later.
They should have put it in one.
They should have, yeah. But sleep is one of the most powerful things you can do for your immune system.
Agreed.
If you're getting enough sleep, you're less likely to get sick.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Number 12 is a box of tissues. Make sure you have a box of tissues nearby in case you get sick.
If not, you have to get up and walk to the bathroom. That can be
Yes.
a chore. Understand?
Number 13 is a juicer to help you get your daily dose of fruits and vegetables.
Or you could just eat
I-
some fruits and vegetables
Right.
too if you want.
Do you lose your ability to chew when I guess maybe it
Let's-
affects your appetite.
Let's look at that though, because there are certain things. We used to hear an apple a day, right?
Yeah.
Keeps the doctor away.
I think it does.
But there are certain foods like that like, man, there's so much great fiber and so many other great nutrients in something like an apple.
Yeah.
If you begin just introducing something like that, it's going to have unbelievable effects. And it's amazing how many people don't eat something like that
Yeah.
on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So go eat an apple. It's real. It's a real thing.
Yeah. And juicing is good. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it's not good.
Absolutely. It's just
if
you don't have
do
to
that
spend
too.
$800 on a great juicer to get your nutrients.
You might lose some of the effects of chewing. Chewing is actually healthy.
Mhm.
Anyways, we won't get into that right now. A pressure cooker to make fast, hearty meals.
Again,
I don't know much about pressure cooker, but it says
You
a
don't.
pressure cooker makes it easy to throw all the ingredients into a pot and hop back into bed. Best of all, it'll be done before you know it. Literally, they're advertising products. Number 15 is an eye mask to catch some Z's during the day.
this is
Really,
where
you
we
should
talk about light.
light, but you should block light on your skin, not just your eyes.
Right.
That's why we cover ourselves at night with a blanket. It's not to stay warm. It's to block light.
Although that's nice too.
Yeah, but sometimes you can sleep with just a sheet over you, as long as it's blocking light. That's the main thing because it keeps you. When you block light, your body produces melatonin also, which is precursor to helping you stay healthy hormonally and so on.
But sleeping extra when you're under the weather is always advised because that's when your body builds and repairs.
Right.
So sleep.
Because the reason you got sick was because your stress level was higher than your tolerance to stress, which is how we started this podcast today.
Look at us coming full circle.
So, okay, we're done. Let's call it a day. I'll be here all week. Number 16 is an Epsom salt bath to soothe. I've never had an Epsom salt bath. Have you ever had one?
Yeah, of course. I bought a foot bath thing a few years ago, and
Never
I have
had-
Epsom salt.
Never done it.
It's great. It's actually a great detoxifier because it does pull
Right.
toxins
Yeah.
from, especially if you just do a foot bath, that's perfectly okay because you have some of the largest pores in the body and there's more pores on the bottom of the feet, so it's concentrated more than any other part of the body. So it's a great thing if you have a little foot bath and add some Epsom salt. It actually pulls
They
toxins
say it
from the
helps
body.
you with relaxing and helps you with muscle soreness as well.
Oh yeah.
And it increases recovery or speeds up recovery from a workout.
Yeah. And if you're going to be at our school's Christmas shop, we'll have some really beautiful bath salts all ready to go that are Epsom salt for purchase. So
Wow, there you
there
go.
we go. Shameless Christmas shop plug.
Hello, FCA.
Woo.
Number 17 is a slow cooker to set it and forget it.
That's pretty much the pressure cooker, just different.
Yeah, basically. It says cook when you take a nap.
Okay.
Cook while napping. Number 18, a space heater to keep you nice and toasty.
Please be careful.
Yeah,
Those
I mean,
can lead to
they
fire.
can be a fire hazard. So anyways, don't turn them on and fall asleep.
Oh, look, 19 is my essential oil diffuser.
I told you it's in here.
So I guess I don't have anything else
Yeah,
to add.
depending on the oil you choose, such as eucalyptus or lavender, they may help clear your sinuses or make it easier. So there are plenty of essential oils out there. And
Lavender is not to clear your sinuses.
I don't
just
think it is
FYI.
either, I was going to say. And
But lavender does have over 200 different uses. It's actually one of the most versatile essential oils available. So it's good stuff.
Is there an essential oil called vanilla?
Yes, there is actually.
Does it make
I
you feel
have
like you're in an ice cream factory?
Oh, it smells
Can
so
you put
good.
it on tonight?
Sure.
I want to
For our date.
I want to sleep to vanilla.
Okay, I'll put
tonight.
some on your pillow.
Thank you. Anyways, that's a diffuser. The diffusers are powerful. They do moisten your air passageways also. And number 20 is a heating pad to manage pain. I don't know about that one, but anyways, I guess it could be comforting. But it's so funny because they talk about electric blanket on number 25, which is different than a heating pad. You remember those water
They ran out of things.
bags we used to put hot
Oh, yeah.
water in,
Yeah.
and you'd wrap it in a
Yeah.
blanket and
It was called a hot water. I think it was called a hot water bottle.
hot water bottle. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, don't use that anymore. Although that one doesn't catch on fire. These electric blankets do. Number 21 is a weighted blanket to de-stress and stay warm. I like weighted blankets.
You do, yeah.
I like having weight on me when I'm trying to fall asleep. It feels good. It's researched and proven it does cause a calming effect in the body.
Well, yeah, it's they use them a lot now for individuals on the spectrum. Also,
Oh,
it
okay.
tends to provide comfort for
Yeah.
various mental and emotional disorders.
I
also.
loved having a heavy blanket to pull up
See
over
me,
me.
I do not want it heavy. I'm like, kick it off. So I'll get you your own special weighted blanket.
Yeah. Put it on my side of the
A
bed.
bottle of hand sanitizer. The only thing you actually have to be cautious with the hand sanitizer that you're using because a lot of them have chemicals that
They
are
destroy
carcinogenic.
your kidneys too.
Yeah. ewg.org. I'm just, every time we talk, I'm just
Yeah.
going to push you guys back
Now,
there.
there are some essential oil companies that make good hand sanitizers you can use.
Yeah, we use Young Living. They have a great product that they use, that they create. So we love that.
Yeah, there's another company called EO.
EO is one. There's also, there's a couple
Anyways,
others that are.
use the organic, safe hand sanitizers. If you're gonna be putting something in your hands over and over and over, the commercial ones actually do damage your kidneys.
And remember what you put onto your skin. I think we forget. I know we've
We
mentioned
talked
this
about
before.
it in the last podcast when we talked about cosmetics.
Yeah, we have to be super cautious because what you put onto your body is as important as what you put into your body, because it goes directly into the bloodstream. So you do need to be cautious.
Number 23 is a
cream.
case of.
Did I
No,
miss
number
one?
23 is disinfecting wipes to rid surfaces of germs.
Again, be cautious of the chemicals.
Exactly.
There's
number 24.
Clean ones you can use.
Correct. Number 24 is hand cream to soothe dry skin. Anyways, because that's the other thing the hand sanitizers will do is dry your skin.
I think we should come up with our own like top 10.
We need a better list.
Nobody needs 25 things,
Yeah.
but I know what they were trying to do.
25 was the electric blanket.
Hopefully we added a little extra value in there for you.
Yep.
And I do have a whole list of toolkits that things we typically recommend, like as we're getting into certain seasons. There are different supplements and oils that can really, really help to support the different systems.
Bottom line, you get a little bit of exercise every day. You eat some fruit and vegetables every day, and you get proper sleep every night. Your immune system will be strong.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next week. We got
it.
some good articles coming up next week, so join us next week.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about AI again.
We are going to go back to AI. Yeah, so we'll save that for next time. Take care. God bless. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.